Play clock at 5. Pass is intercepted at the goal line by Malcolm Butler.
The jump, yes, he did. He gives it to Henry.
Quick snap. Breeze. Pass is incomplete. No flag.
4th and goal. And they're going to snap it, and it's Trey Burton who throws caught. Touchdown.
It's about that time, ladies and gentlemen, the NFL season. Oh, it's upon us. We've had to go through one of the longest off seasons I can remember, man. And it was also a very eventful off season, which kind of helped make it pass a little bit quicker, but still, it felt like it was really dragging along. But none of that matters. Nothing from February to August matters to September. Screw all that, because we're here and we are on the doorstep of the 2021 NFL season. And what better way to kick things off with not only by a fantastic NFL prediction show, but he's back. AK is making his return to the show. Alex, the official 4th and Long NFL correspondent. How are we doing?
He's back!
Yes.
And it has been too long, Ross, man. I cannot wait for the start of the 2021 season. It has been, as you said, an eventful offseason, been filled with hard knocks, 5 rookie quarterbacks, trade-ups, smoke screens, everything. You got COVID thrown in there. Are you vaxxed? Are you not vaxxed? HIPAA, not HIPAA? What's HIPAA? And all of a sudden, 2 days away from the start of the season. And one thing to remember about the NFL season, when it starts, it does not slow down until the Super Bowl final whistle. So strap in, get ready for an incredible season. And what better way to start this thing off than a little 4th and Long little preview show?
Ooh, oh, I miss that. You just feel the energy here. It's palpable, okay? There's a reason I got a pop guard, man, so I could say palpable with that much power. But
About that time, Ross.
Oh, Alex, speaking of power, what better way to start things off than to give a little week 1 power rankings. After that, of course, we're going to get into some performance predictions here, as in who's going to be the best rookie QB, who's going to have the biggest breakout season, which team is going to have the biggest surprise, and also who might be the biggest disappointment. Possibly some surprising names there. Of course, we're going to... Oh, man. Then also, of course, we got to give you all of our award predictions here. Alex, can you believe that? When's the last time we hit a little buy or sell action?
I cannot wait for that soundbite to pop. Cannot wait.
Hey, all I'm saying is, can the Chiefs start the season 0-3? Ooh.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no. Then, of course, our playoff predictions, eventual Super Bowl prediction, and, of course, we cap things off like we cap off every episode with the Nene of the week. But, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, power rankings, let's get rolling to this, Alex, because I've been waiting far too long. Start us off, Alex, number 5. Who we got going on right now?
You're giving me the honor?
Dude,
oh
of course
gosh.
You get the honor,
what
my man.
A host. If you guys have ever forgot how good of a host Ross Allen is, do not forget again. Because coming in at number 5 in the, what do you call this, week 1, week 0?
We're calling this week 1. Let's go week 1. We're rolling to week
power
1.
Rankings. I have the newly revamped quarterback-led Los Angeles Rams. They are going to be playing in front of, I wouldn't say a packed house because, again, we're talking about LA, but
we're going to have enough people to make some noise. Enough people week 1 in the preseason to have a fight already.
That is true. It doesn't take a lot of fans in the stands to really promote that violence that fan base just really brings out of people.
Just take some beer.
The LA Rams, this is where the Super Bowl is. Let's everyone keep in mind that the LA Rams Chargers Stadium is going to be SoFi Stadium, is what they call it.
Yeah.
Right. SoFi Stadium is the host of the 2021 Super Bowl. So the Rams are going to be kicking off Sunday Night Football this week. I really love what they did with the offense. They did not change much besides obviously, bringing in Matt Stafford. I think him and Sean McVay are just going to be an absolute power couple because Jared Goff was everything that Matthew Stafford is not. He fumbles the ball. He does not have a big arm. He does not think for himself. He's horrible at actually making plays happen out of nothing. Matt Stafford has done this time and time again for the last 10 to 15 years. I don't know how long he's been in the Lions, but he has been there for so long. And he's consistently turned nothing into something. And when you put yourself into an offense that is so well scripted, gets receivers open I would say the Rams and the Chiefs are the two best offenses at getting their players wide open because of play design. And that pairing between Stafford and Sean McVay, I think is just gonna be magical. And of course, it sucks that Cam Akers is out. I loved him this year. I thought he was going to be an incredible addition to that offense. But I don't think they're going to miss that much because they're just going to go now into a primarily heavy passing attack, and that's going to be totally fine with a Matt Stafford-led offense. So I love what they did. Defense remains the same. They have elite talent at a lot of the major positions: D-line, corner, receiver, quarterback, offensive line. They got a great line. And so that combination with Sean McVay, and of course it does suck that Brandon Staley's out too. We'll get to him later. But I like what the Rams did. I think they're my number 5 team coming to week 1.
Actually, number 5 for me is I'll just say that number 5 is not the Los Angeles Rams for me. I love them, and that's why they're actually number 4 for me. But number 5, I was really it's AFC North team, and obviously there's a lot of debate. But I guess what recently kind of switched things up is that I love the Ravens. Then they're losing their entire running backfield. I mean, you got Le'Veon Bell taking over at the practice squad. Can we see Le'Veon Bell on special teams? Has Le'Veon Bell's contract holdout actually totally blown up in his face? Yes. Are the Steelers awful with contract holdouts, and most recently with TJ Watt now? Yes. Get together, guys. I mean, what the hell are you doing? But I guess that's besides the point here. But the Cleveland Browns, okay, they made it to the divisional round last year, and they almost won that game. Even though both sides are real injured, and that was honestly not the prettiest game that we could have seen. But if you saw them in the wild card round, they just blew the lights out of the Pittsburgh Steelers and surprised the entire nation. But I love what the Browns are doing. And could you imagine, Alex, 3 years ago, if I told you that the Browns are a possible Super Bowl contender going into the season?
I mean, I believe you. I think on paper they might be a top 2 or 3 talent-wise team in the NFL. At every single position, they have elite talent, except maybe the quarterback position. That's up for debate, but I think that's the only really place where they don't have a difference maker at that
least above average.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I like the Browns here, and I mean, you got Myles Garrett. We'll see if he can kind of spark Jadeveon Clowney here on the defensive line. And, I mean, man, hey, they could be making some plays, Alex, but your number 4 team.
My 4 team this year is a team spoiler alert, you're not very high on this year, but the Packers, time and time again, are a great regular season team. And I think
that's the word.
But here's the thing. The power rankings are for the regular season. This is what we're doing.
Okay.
They are going to be a formidable opponent during the regular season. When it gets to playoff time, I don't think they have the upper echelon talent or the roster construction to go up with a Bucs team or to go up with, one of those teams out of the NFC West that are inevitably going to be there. But for the regular season, 2 things I think are extremely important: continuity at the head coach position and continuity at the quarterback position. They have both of those. They have a great dynamic between LaFleur and Rodgers. Rodgers is coming back, even if it's the last year. He's got Aaron Jones back. He's got Devontae back. He's got Robert Tonyan back. They drafted a receiver. I think Amari Rodgers is a great player. They still have 2 really good deep threats in Lazard and MVS. And so they have every single part of the field covered. Yes, they lost Corey Linsley. That is not a great that's not a great move for them, obviously, in the offseason. But when you have a guy like Rodgers who knows how to move around in the pocket, how to get rid of the ball quickly, how to construct an offense around any potential weaknesses that they have, I think they are going to be just fine on that side of the ball. I mean, they're going to be a top 5 offense. I think that's hands down that's going to happen, and their defense is going to be good enough to be able to get them to that 11-12 win season. And I think that's going to be A, good enough to win the NFC North, and B, good enough to be a top 3 seed.
Well, with the Packers, one of the best things that you can really see, especially as a fan of them, is that their defense that they have rolling to this season is one of the best defenses that they've had in probably 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, any season that Aaron Rodgers has been with the team. So that is 100% the positive. Is it? I mean, obviously that's not really saying much, though. So is it going to be good enough to propel them past the NFC Championship game? I think we'll just have to wait and see. But Alex, great point with the regular season, at least. But we're only to the top 3 here. We actually have the same 3 teams, but are they in the same order? I guess we'll have to see. But number 3, got the team that could very well be the ones to finally knock the Chiefs off and be the team to represent the AFC. And that's of course, the best fan base in all the NFL. That's Bills Mafia right here, because one of the scariest sights that I think opposing defenses and defensive coordinators have to see, Alex, is Josh Allen with a visor. If you thought he couldn't
Hold on. Here's
better.
Hold on. I did get a tip that might be temporary.
Damn it.
He might not be going into the season, but here's the issue, and here's the misconception with the visor. Yeah, it looks great, but look through the last, what Super Bowl are we on here?
56? 57?
56?
57.
Okay.
Yeah.
The last 56 Super Bowl winners, do you know how many have had quarterbacks that have had visors?
Oh, no, has it been 0?
Big old goose egg, my friend. So, Josh Allen,
popping my bubble,
if you,
Alex.
okay,
I'm
hold on,
freaking out.
if Josh Allen wears the visor, cross him off your list. They're done. They're cooked. But
Whoa.
no visor.
This isn't breaking news. Visors equal, well, but also, maybe it's different for the
Just for quarterback.
Maybe it's
Just
different for the
quarterback.
Bills, though, Alex, because if you look, did Jim Kelly wear a visor in the 4 Super Bowls that the Bills lost?
No.
Maybe it's different. So, Bills, maybe you got to go reverse voodoo here.
See, I think you're missing the point here, Ross.
Right.
56, we got a pretty big sample size there.
Hey,
I mean, if it was 1, 2, or 3, I hear you.
Mm-hmm.
But 0 is a tough mountain to overcome
Hey.
here. And I think you got to play it safe with the visor game.
All I'm saying, though, is that it might be a tough mountain to overcome here, Alex. But if anyone could throw a football over the damn mountains, it is Josh Allen.
That is a fair point. But, I think visor, no visor, Josh Allen is the perfect quarterback for this offense. Stephon Diggs going to come right
season 2 of Stephon Diggs also. I might be ruining my point here, but that defense has been good. It's gotten better. They've been able to up that running back field, and that was kind of what was hurting them last postseason, is that Josh Allen was the leading rusher week in and week out. Obviously, you're not going to have much success when your quarterback is your leading rusher, I guess maybe unless you're the Baltimore Ravens, because it seems to work out for them for whatever reason. But if they could finally share up that backfield, which it looks like they have, they could do good stuff there. Also, shout out to Emmanuel Sanders, once again, one of the more underrated moves of the offseason.
Also, look out for Gabe Davis this year. I mean, his playoff success, I don't think went unnoticed, especially in Bill's camp. Everything out of the beat writers has been Josh Allen and Gabe Davis have a special connection, especially in the red zone. And, that's not a place where the Buffalo Bills had any trouble at all last year. But
Alex, I'm going to go and try to pick him up on the waiver wire in fantasy.
Yeah. Go grab a little GD action. Gabe Davis is going to be a problem this year. And, I mean, yeah, that weaponry that Josh Allen has around him, I didn't think it would be any more compatible to a skill set from last year, but throwing in Emmanuel Sanders and having another year Gabe Davis in there, I think it's just going to accentuate all the things he does well.
Mm-hmm. Now, so that was both of our 3 teams there. Moving to 2, it's the top 2 teams. It's the Super Bowl teams from last year, but in which place are they? It might be a little bit of an overstatement and overreach for me, and I totally understand the disrespect that might be showing to Tom Brady, and to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, to the defending Super Bowl champs. But I had them at 2 and the Chiefs at 1. And that's mostly just because, I mean, if you look at the Super Bowl, obviously we broke it down for you guys the months that happened, but the Chiefs' offensive line especially, I mean, their offensive line was just absolutely obliterated by injuries. Patrick Mahomes was running for his life. I think he ran for like 300, 400 yards laterally that game, and he was still, while parallel to the ground, slinging sidearm passes that could have been caught for touchdowns. Oh my, this guy's just ridiculous. He's a cheat code. But I think, although the Bucs won the Super Bowl, the Chiefs are always going to be the best quarterback in one of the best quarterbacks the game's ever seen already, which is a ridiculous statement, but here I am making it. And they have one of the most overpowered offenses, but their defense is actually getting better. Their offensive line is actually getting better with Turney there as well. I mean, stepping up there. Patrick Mahomes is finally going to get some legitimate protection. And the Chiefs, to me, they're just more talented than the Bucs, and that's why I had them at number 1 here.
And of course, we're splitting hairs here. The Chiefs and the Bucs are the top 2 teams, and it's, again, I'm going to say this again from last year. Chiefs are the top 2 teams, and it is not close.
There it is. First one of the season.
Yeah, take a shot, everyone, if you're playing the drinking game. But here's the biggest difference to me is I don't think you can discount, and this point's been made, obviously, but I think it's a very, very poignant point that the Bucs last year were transitioning in a new quarterback. Yes, it's Tom Brady, but he did not have a full offseason to work with. Mm-hmm. He has another year to fully acclimate himself with that offense. You know how many of their starters they're returning on offense?
22.
No, on
offense. 11. Yes, I'm getting ahead of myself there.
They're returning every single starter they had from a Super Bowl winning team last year.
That's real. First off, shout out to that front office for being.
It's incredible. I mean,
that's.
I don't know how they were able to keep Levante, Devin White, and Chris Godwin. That was incredible the way they did that.
So good.
Do I think they overpaid for some of those guys? Yes, but here's the thing: you maximize your potential and you maximize your window when you have Tom Brady. And the Bucs, just another year with Brady in that offense, another year with that defense, just eating, and just so dominant in the Super Bowl. I think it would be disrespectful to not put them number 1 this year because they had the best team last year. They have every single starter coming back. They didn't lose many coaches. At that offensive line, I mean, Tristan Wirfs was one of the best rookies in the NFL last year.
A guy that didn't even give up a sack in the postseason? And gave up some, I think maybe a sack on the season and a handful of pressures. Stud.
And also undercover edition. Mm-hmm. One thing that Brady did not have last year that he's usually accustomed to having is a little pass catching scat running back. And they got one of the best in Gio Bernard coming out. He might not be ready at the start of the season, but that man, Tom Brady, does wonders with a guy like James White or a guy like Kevin Falk or a guy like Burkhead. I mean, any of these guys with that pass catching ability, he does wonders with them. So, Again, Bucs, Chiefs, top 2 teams, not close. I give the Bucs a slight edge just because of, I think the continuity and the ability for Tom Brady to lead an offense puts him over the edge.
Very fair there. So, of course, from Alex from 5 to 1, that is the Rams, Packers, Bills, Chiefs, and Bucs. And from me, it's the Browns, Rams, Bills, Bucs, and Chiefs. Of course, we'd love to hear your power rankings. Like we would like to hear your opinion on any one of these. So go and hit us up on Twitter at 4th Long Radio, Instagram at 4th Long Radio, or best of all, you can go on over and leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts with your opinions on any one of these. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to keep things rolling. We're going to roll on into some of our real predictions here and some of the meat and potatoes of this episode. And we're going to roll into our, what I'm going to call performance predictions. And so, the first question pertains to the quarterbacks here. And the rookie ones in particular. So, Alex, I ask you, which rookie quarterback is going to have the best season? And why isn't it Trey Lance?
Well, it's not going to be Trey. Okay, impact-wise, I think Trey Lance is going to have a big impact on winning this season.
Yep.
But
highest ceiling of any of the 5 rookie quarterbacks in the first round.
Oh, by far the highest ceiling. But, I mean, if you watch him in camp and you watch the preseason games, he's just clearly not ready for the biggest – he's not ready to lead an offense right now. And the first thing is That's totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
That is totally fine because out of all 5 quarterback situations, the 49ers have the best second option in Jimmy G. So I'm not worried about his development as a big Niners fan. I am ecstatic about how he's going to look projecting out in the future. But I think this is honestly an easy answer here. I think it's Mac Jones because you have a couple things that you're checking off the box already. You have 3 guys that are starting day one: Lawrence, Wilson, Mac Jones. Out of those 3, it is – I mean, the Patriots might have more wins than the other 2 teams combined. So you're getting into an incredible situation with a great head coach, great offensive coordinator, a great defense and offensive line that they did not have last year because of COVID holdouts. You have an incredible running game in Damian Harris. You have 2 safety blankets that everyone says, what's the quarterback's best friend is a pass catching tight end. They got 2 of them, 2 of the top paid tight ends in the NFL. Bill Belichick spent like a housewife that just got the credit card for the weekend in Beverly Hills. So that man did so much work to put into that defense and that offense. They got a couple deep threats. Aguilar is a great deep threat. Jacoby Myers, not a great receiver, but they don't need a ton of these guys because the collection of that talent with James White still there. Damian Harris, I think, is going to have an incredible breakout year. And that defense is going to put Mac Jones in positions to win games, short fields, and success. So Mac Jones, the situation is very similar to when Andrew Luck took over in Indianapolis. That year before that, it was a crazy year. You had when Peyton Manning got hurt, and then they had Dan Orlovsky, Kerry Collins trying to man the ship, and they won 2-3 games. So he comes into a team that was a good team, had a bad year, got the first overall pick, and he won 10-11 games. So Mac Jones is coming into that same sort of situation, and I think it's not a talent play. It is a situation play, and he's not going to be expected to come in and take over the world. He just needs to right the ship, man the ship. And if he comes out, throws 25 touchdowns, limits the turnovers, and throws for a great completion percentage, and they win 10-11 games, offensive rookie of the year is his for the taking.
Well, I love Mac Jones. The Patriots offense is going to be a lot better with Jones. It is quarterback. I'm glad they ended up going with starting Mac Jones over Cam Newton, and even cutting Cam Newton, so kind of surprising there. But Mac Jones is their guy, and that's the right move because it's almost pointless for the Patriots to start Cam Newton this season. That really accomplishes nothing for you. That's doing nothing for you in the future. That's also doing nothing but limiting your offense this season. But the guy I'm going to go with is, Mac Jones, not as talented of a quarterback, but he's in the better situation. Justin Fields is by far the better quarterback here, but he's in a way worse situation because that Bears offensive line, not great. They have a decent running game. I do like Montgomery there. Obviously with guys like Allen Robinson, he's underrated, and they have a good defense. He has a very respectable defense to help back him up there. But the problem is, he has Matt Nagy. And as long as Matt Nagy is the head coach of the Chicago Bears football team, his potential is only going to be decreased. But even after all that, Justin Fields, he took the NFL by storm in the preseason. I was not expecting that from him. I wouldn't say low expectations, but just kind of expectations there. I wasn't expecting him to show and look like the best quarterback of the draft. Which he did in a good parts of that, whether it be the deep ball, whether it be making good reads, whether it be showing off his athleticism and running the football for a touchdown. So I like all the weapons that Justin Fields brings to the table here. To be honest, I think he's the most talented. Will he actually be able to win Offensive Rookie of the Year? I think we'll just have to wait and see because I have a very kind of specific reason of whether he may or may not. And then, Alex, we talk quarterbacks. Let's talk any position. Let's see who could really break out this season, whether it be sophomores, whether it be juniors, whether it be veterans that have been in the game but haven't really had that moment in the sun here, Alex. So, I ask you, who's going to have the biggest breakout season in 2021?
A couple guys popped off. When I was thinking about this question, but
there's a lot of guys you can choose from.
There really is. There's a ton of opportunity out there. You have a lot of you just have a lot more young guys in the NFL contributing at a young age. So that rookie to sophomore jump has been a lot easier for players, and I think that's just because of talent development has gone crazy over the last couple of years with all the sports science we have, and college players I think are just coming into the NFL.
Hey, speaking of sports science, ESPN needs to bring that back.
Oh my God, John Brinkins, that would be electric if he went back and did something with with how far or the torque that Patrick Mahomes puts on his shoulder when he's falling down and throwing 45 yards across the other way.
I just remember them showing Calvin Johnson's range of.
Oh, his catch radius is like a bus or something.
Right.
It's nuts.
Love the show. Bring it back. Moral of the story.
Seriously, bring that back. But on the breakout player this year, I have been a big fan of everything that I've been reading and looking at regarding Marquez Callaway. And that Saints offense, every single year, and I know Drew Brees has been there for the last handful of years, but every single year, that Saints offense runs like a well-oiled machine. The only thing that's held him back the last couple of years has been a deep threat. And has that been because they don't have a deep threat, or has that been because Drew Brees can't throw the ball deep? Doesn't matter. Two things that are being addressed this offseason. Jameis, he's got a arm cannon. That man loves to throw the ball deep.
And he got
Marquez Callaway. You saw it in preseason already. His contested catch potential is crazy. That man just has a knack for the football. And on that offense right now, but until Michael Thomas gets back, if you can find me an outside receiver that has anywhere near the upside that Marquez Callaway does, I might have to change this answer, but I don't see that guy right now. The only game last year where he was the starting receiver without a Michael Thomas in there, he had a 30% target share. That's Julio Jones prime numbers. That's Calvin Johnson prime numbers. I'm not comparing him to these guys. I'm just saying if he gets that type of opportunity in an offense like the New Orleans offense, and he has the type of talent that's needed to take advantage of that, he's going to go for at least 1,000 yards, and he's going to have very, very high upside, especially if Jameis unloads that deep ball.
Love that, and I love starting with Jameis. That's not the last time we'll be talking about the Saints here today. For me, it's a guy that showed a lot of, I guess, spark. He had a lot of flashes, even with limited quarterback play and also just not being on a good offense last season. And that is going to be sophomore wide receiver out of University of Colorado and playing for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Laviska Shenault. And this is a guy that is a force, whether you spread him out or whether you play him in the slot. He can really make a statement on this game. And like I say, he didn't have the best offensive situation, didn't have the best coaching situation, didn't have the best quarterback situation, but he still puts up a very respectable 600 yards, 5 touchdowns in 12 games that he started. He caught for about 60 passes there, and he gained about 10 yards a catch. And now he has possibly a real head coach. Very possible. I say that tentatively because I am not sold on Urban Meyer. He's going to have a lot of proving to do this year. He has a better offensive line, a better run game is to help with the offense, and most importantly, Alex, he has a quarterback. He finally has a quarterback here. So I think I'm going to make a take here, Alex, and you could book it for this one. Lock it, this take in, and let me know at the end of the season. Shenault, well, he's going to be 1,000-yard wide receiver. He might even break 1,200. Might even break 1,200 this year. Double up his yardage from last season. Let's go. He's getting 1,000 yards receiving and 10 touchdowns this year.
Well, here's the issue is I love Laviska Shenault. I think he's got talent out the wazoo. I don't know what an Urban Meyer offense is going to look like.
That's the one thing that scares me, man. Urban Meyer.
I think losing ETN opens up a lot of that opportunity for Shenault because I think they play in that short intermediate area, and Laviska's kind of be the safety blanket there. They don't really have a good tight end, and Laviska plays on the inside more. And I know he has the build of an outside receiver, but that's where Marvin Jones and DJ Chark are going to play.
Maybe take a page out of some missing action Saints receiver and run some slants in the middle of the field.
Exactly, and I think that's exactly how they want to utilize him, is that in that Michael Thomas underneath role, possession receiver, get him out in space, let him break tackles. I I would be more comfortable with this if I knew what Urban Meyer's offense looked like, and I don't right now. So it's hard for me to predict that he's going to have a massive breakout season, but he's got every ingredient possible to have that go through.
Urban Meyer, don't mess this up. Okay, that's all.
The world's in your oyster, Urban.
That's all I gotta say there. And let's talk some possible surprises and disappointments here, Alex, before we get into our awards predictions. So let's start things off with the biggest surprise team, and let's go into the biggest. Let's go positive and then negative here. And for my positive, I got a feeling they could have done it last year, and they could have surprised a lot of people. But especially what they were able to bring in some more talent defensively, and bringing some more talent offensively this season. And Kyler Murray only has another year to get better here. The Arizona Cardinals are my prediction for the biggest surprise team in 2021. If you remember, it was a very poor way to end the season, but you lose the game to the Bears, and that essentially puts them into the playoffs and kicks you out of it. They're going to have a lot of competition there in the NFC West, of course. We're going to talk about that. But look at that team. It could very well be 3 playoff teams there. Maybe even 4. Technically, possibly 4 with the whole expanded playoffs now. But, of course, we'll get to that near the end of the show. So I love what the Cardinals are doing. DeAndre Hopkins only going to get better. I love what they have going on at the running back position with Chase Edmonds. I think he could actually be a possible breakout year. He is a guy that could be a workhorse. Also, he's a speedy dude with a speedy offense and a quarterback that's getting better there. And so, Arizona Cardinals, watch out for them. Possibly, I'll put very possibly, Super Bowl dark horse.
Here's the issue with that. Cliff Kingsbury's a bum.
Cliff Kingsbury is better than Urban Meyer, at least.
Bum. That's the issue there.
Yeah.
Love everything they did. Cliff Kingsbury's a bum. He kicks field goals on 4th and 1 from the 1. Who does that? Not Cliff. No one that's a Super Bowl winning coach kicks field goals under 25 yards. That's just a fact.
I'm hoping that that's not the case. Hopefully he grows from it, but also there's a lot of hope in there.
I hope so too. But for my team this year, I really, really, really love what the Chargers did this offseason. I think the absolute 2 biggest additions they're going to have this year are not big free agency pickups, not rookies. It's Brandon Staley. I think he's going to be an incredible head coach, and they're getting Derwin James back. And Derwin James back is so big for that defense. Joey Bosa, I know he's been hurt so much, and if they get a healthy year out of Joey Bosa and a healthy year out of Derwin James, Justin Herbert with another year to just expand on everything he did as a rookie. They lost so many close games last year that they're due to at least have some sort of positive regression. And the biggest upgrade they have on their team is swapping out Anthony Lynn, who I thought was the worst coach in NFL last year, with Brandon Staley, who's one of those guys that he was so bad last year.
It was embarrassing.
Doesn't know what he's doing. And so you bring in Brandon Staley. It's one of those guys that had the quick rise up the rankings. And the last couple instances we've had of that where, guys kind of came out of nowhere, got the coordinator position and then very quickly got that head coaching position. You look at McVay, look at Matt LaFleur, you look at Kyle Shanahan. These guys have great track records at actually coming in and having success as a head coach. And I think Brandon Staley's going to be no different.
Really like the hiring of Brandon Staley. Probably, we'll see. There could be a couple of names mentioned there. Definitely the conversation for possible coach of the year. So we're going to have to take a look at that. And for the Chargers, I'm not sure if I could. I might be bold, but if they make the playoffs and make a run in the playoffs, I'm not sure if I'll ultimately be surprised here. But the thing is with the Chargers, they have these, at least recently, they've had these fairly high expectations heading into the season. Have they necessarily been able to live up to them? Not sure about that one. But at least you got Justin Herbert and not Phillip Rivers anymore. And that's definitely going to change things. I think Justin Herbert is 3 or 4 300-yard games away for passing Patrick Mahomes for the most 300-plus yard games in his first 2 seasons. And he also set the rookie record with, I believe it was 8 last season as well. So this guy, I mean, Justin Herbert has all the talent in the world. Also, short hair Herbert might be better than long hair Herbert if we're looking at this thing. And all I know is that those farmer tans equal passing yards and touchdowns. That's a fact. Okay.
What's that conversion rate look like?
Was of the farmer tans.
Yeah. What's the conversion rate to farmer tans to wins?
Ooh, I'll give you so farmer tan. So each farmer tan. So like we're going either arm here. I think just the farmer tan alone converts to 3 wins. Each farmer tan is guaranteed 3 wins.
So what about like a really really nice like sock tan?
Oh,
like you have like a very tan leg and then just a white
sock tan adds 2 wins. I believe that the farmer's tan is more potent, but the sock tan line also can't overlook the knee brace tan line, because I know I had my between my sock tan line and my knee brace tan line when I used to play the old foosball, my calf was tan as hell. Every other part of my leg was pacey as hell. It was. Wow. It wasn't a good look. I look like a zebra, man. Not a good look, but it just is what it is there. And then let's cap things off with a little bit of a negative. But the biggest disappointment team, Alex, is 2 teams that didn't make appearances on at least your team didn't make appearance on my list. My team didn't make an appearance on my top 5 list as well in the power rankings, and it's almost like there's a reason that I didn't have the Green Bay Packers on my week 1 power rankings. That's just because it's not like they're a bad team, Alex. You laid out perfectly of why they can contend for a Super Bowl or why they might just be contending for another NFC Championship game loss. But for me, with the Packers going to the season, there's just. We all saw the drama. We all saw the news. There was so much damn turmoil this offseason. It looked like a drama made for TV. And Aaron Rodgers played his role perfectly there. It was just bad from front office down. It was a really bad look, at least perception-wise. Ultimately, they were able to work things out enough where we can get this last dance with Aaron Rodgers, possibly Devonta Adams as well. So, Packers, you better try to succeed this year, but I think there's just so much is going on there. Can they actually win an NFC Championship game? Probably not. They've lost 3 straight, and it's not like this team doesn't have talent. The Packers might have one highest ceilings in the league, but I think that this year they also have one of the lowest floors ultimately as well.
I completely disagree with you on that one. If Aaron Rodgers starts at least 16 games this year, I can guarantee you they have at least 10 wins.
At least 10 wins.
Guaranteed. 10-7 gets the job done in the NFC this year. That's to me, 10-7 is their floor if Aaron Rodgers plays at least 16 games. That's their floor.
You said the bar that low for the NFC again?
I just think with you got 7 playoff teams, you're not going to have – last year the NFC was extremely competitive. But you have the fringe teams like the Cardinals, like the Bears, like even when you go to the NFC East is the worst division in football. Yeah. The NFC South, I feel like, is not a great division either.
You got 2 teams there. That's about it.
Yeah, so the Packers, just by default, are going to be in the playoff position. Yeah. And they're with Aaron Rodgers in there, they're going to have at least a high floor of 10 wins. And 10 wins is plenty to get in the playoffs. So if Aaron Rodgers goes down, they're one of the worst teams in the league.
Jordan Love is not ready to be a starter in the NFL. Oh,
no chance.
No, still one to. Hey, Alex, remember how they actually traded up for him? I know that's beat to hell, but you still got to remember that they traded up for Jordan Love.
Looking back a year and a half later, it still looks really bad.
It almost looks
really
worse.
It looks worse. It does look worse. It does look worse.
But Alex, your most disappointing team. Let's hear it.
And this is a team I really love and enjoy watching. Mm-hmm. And this team's won 20 straight games in the preseason. But I'm worried about the Ravens this year. I really am. And the two biggest things, I think J.K. Dobbins was a problem. I think he is one of the best pure runners in the NFL. And losing him does not help anything. Mm-hmm. You lose two of your most impactful defensive players in Matt Judon and Yannick Ngakoue. Ngakoue you can replace. Judon is an absolute monster, and that's going to be a big hole on that defense. And you don't have the type of offensive weaponry outside of Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews to put fear into defenses. And even with Rashad Bateman being on the shelf early in the IR list, you just don't have as many players that put fear into defenses. And I'm worried about in that division, they could potentially be the third worst team in that division. And the Browns, on paper, significantly more talented than them. The Steelers and the Ravens, I'm not bought on obviously, but
I hate the Steelers this season.
But they're in that same boat of, they don't have elite skill players anymore. So when you're going up against a defense like the Steelers or a defense like the Browns, unless Lamar Jackson is doing Lamar Jackson things, they're going to have a tough time moving the ball on them periodically down the field, and they don't have the defense to be able to keep teams to 17, 20 points a game. So, when you have an MVP on your roster and it's at the most important position on the field, you have a high ceiling inherently. But I'm worried that they just don't have enough firepower or a strong enough defense to be able to compete with some of those upper echelon AFC teams.
Yeah, it's a shame they weren't able to get Juju during the offseason, man. It's crazy to think that he was that close, or maybe even like a Sammy Watkins, or just like a speedy outside receiver, something to help complement Hollywood Brown there. Obviously, that's probably the biggest hole in the Ravens, and they couldn't force that. They should have drafted at least. They couldn't foresee J.K. Dobbins going down, which is just so damn unfortunate there. And that's a 100%. That's just a bummer, man. Like, I know it's just a super. It sounds like a bad word there, but that's like the only way I could describe this. It's just a bummer. That'd be like losing Tom Brady or something like that. It would just be a bummer, like, honestly. But there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Those are our kind of performance predictions is what I'm going to call that there. And it's time let's keep the train rolling. But before we get into our award predictions, make sure to check us out, of course, over on our socials, Twitter, Instagram, everything's linked. We got YouTube. We got, obviously, you find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcast from. And one thing we've been doing, of course, for all you, for the other version of football, Australian football, of course, we've been streaming a game from each round of the finals. They've been absolutely insane. They've been 1-point games each time we stream. We'll be continuing to do that. And also something we'll be doing this NFL season, just want to give you a heads up, is that we'll be doing our best to stream at least one select game from each week of the season. So we got the Twitch. Go check us out. Twitch.tv/4th and long radio. But Alex, let's start things off. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year is where we're going first. And I think our Offensive Rookie of the Year is kind of match who our top quarterbacks were earlier here. So, go ahead.
I'm not going to belabor the point here. I think it's two things. It's three things again. It's situation, can your team win, and what are the expectations that you have on the quarterback? And Mac Jones checks all those boxes. He's going to be on a winning team. He won't turn the ball over, and he's not coming in and expected to completely change the trajectory of a franchise. So I think he's got the least on his plate, but I think he's also the most equipped into going in and starting a season on your rookie year. He's got the pedigree, should have been a Heisman winner last year, trained under Nick Saban, trained under Sark, two great coaches. Fantastic. And he's coming into a situation where he's going to win a ton of games. He's got a great defense. He's got a good run game. Again, those tight ends are going to be massive. And so I think every ingredient is there for Mac Jones to have a successful rookie year. And when you look at that Offensive Rookie of the Year award, a lot of the times it's quarterbacks, and a lot of the times it's either quarterback that puts up great stats or quarterback that wins a ton of games. And he has the potential to do that.
I also went quarterback here. Mostly, especially given the talent that we saw, the first five here, the five drafted in the first round this year, it's ultimately going to be one of those five. If we really look at it, it's an offensive-driven league, and even more so, these like Offensive Player of the Year awards, I guess MVP more than Offensive Player of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year. it's going to be a tough time to win this if you're a running back or a wide receiver. The quarterbacks already are by default the favorite here. And so that's why I'm rolling with my favorite quarterback out of what we've seen so far in the preseason. That's Justin Fields. For all the same points I kind of made of why I think he's going to be the best rookie quarterback, at least this season. But like I said, the one thing that can hold him back, well, not only can Matt Nagy hold him back, one of the things I'm worried about is how many games is he going to be able to play this season? Because I'm not sure how long. I mean, obviously he's not going to be the starter for whatever reason. I guess maybe because Andy Dalton's the starter solely because possibly they don't want Justin Fields to die against the Rams in Week 1. And for reason number 2, probably the main reason is because they said that Andy Dalton was QB1 on Twitter. If we're looking at it, that's the only reason he's starting this game. Let's be honest with ourselves here. But I do like him. His biggest, two huge guys that, I kind of describe the running backs here, but 2 guys that could be a threat could be Najee Harris or Javonte Williams this year. Those rookie running backs look like they're about to light up the league. But of course, running backs are automatically at a disadvantage when it comes to award like this. But we don't got to worry about that. What I like more about the defensive player of the year, like the defensive rookie of the year, is that it's a little more spread out to It's a little more spread out to which position can win this. And so that's the nice thing about this, Alex. So who are you going with ultimately this season?
You know what? I absolutely love Patrick Surtain. I think he's going to be a unbelievable cornerback. He's perfect for that system, perfect for that defense. And defense is going to be nasty this year. I think that is a popular pick. And another popular pick, I think, who's got another chance to put up, a little bit of sexier statistics, if you want to look at it that way, is Micah Parsons. That dude is just an absolute animal. He didn't play in 2020, so you kind of forget how much of a dominant player he was. But he was a top 3 recruit coming out of high school, a top defensive talent coming out of college. You see him in Hard Knocks. The dude is an absolute specimen. So he has, again, all the ingredients to be a dominant player from day one, put up 10, 11, 12 sacks first year. And I think if he gets a couple, strip sacks early, or he starts making some crazy highlight plays just because of how much of a freak athlete he is, especially in a market like Dallas, and no offense to Denver, it's no Dallas. I know they both start with D, but I think we're looking at the just different spectrum of markets there. So I think Patrick Surtain's a great answer, but I think Micah Parsons has a little bit of the edge going into the first week of the season just because of the position he plays, the place he plays, and also I think they're going to be in a ton of shootouts, and a ton of shootouts means a ton of passing by both teams. And so if he's, pinning his ears back and gets to rush the passer 30, 35 times a game, he's going to come home at least 10, 11, 12 times this year.
Man, I mean, if you're a Cowboys fan or if the Cowboys, you really need Micah Parsons to be amazing from the get-go, because that Cowboys defense has been one of the most disappointing groups in the NFL, especially last season. I mean, they weren't going to win many games without Dak, obviously, and they didn't. But even with Dak, it was still going to be hard for them to win games because their defense sucked. Their defense might have been good on paper, but damn, did they under-exceed any expectations. So they need him to be good. And Alex, you mentioned Patrick Surtain here, and that is the man that I'm rolling with. I mean, he started off his rookie season hot in preseason against the Vikings. The first game, he gets a pick 6. He shuts down the offenses, and he just looks fantastic. And I mean, this offseason or this preseason, he was one of the reasons that why the Broncos were the only team that didn't give up a touchdown in any of the 3 games. Patrick Surtain has been locked down when he's out, and he can play in a multitude of ways. And what really helps him is that he's a part of one of the better secondary units that the NFL has this season. The rest of the team, especially the offense, to be determined, especially because of who's playing quarterback. Either one of the choices, it was going to be questionable. But the Broncos have some talent there, and especially defensively, they can get things done with one of the best, if not the best, safety in the league. One of the best soft coverages in the league. And Bryce Callahan, even though he might be shopped, they shouldn't unless they get just a ridiculous trade offer for him. But he's going to be part of a talented group here. He's going to have some help in case he slips up in coverage. He's going to have some help over the top, and maybe that over the top help from the safety can help him. It can allow him maybe be a little more aggressive with his playmaking. Probably bring home around 5 picks this season, possibly 4 or 5 right there. And man, he's just a raw talent, a specimen in the defensive backfield. And so I really like how he fits on the Broncos, especially because, as a Broncos fan, Alex, too, I mean, we all remember draft time. I guess we kind of just assumed that they were going to get Aaron Rodgers, so I wasn't mad that they didn't draft a quarterback. But also, I was a little confused. I guess I didn't hate the pick, but I wasn't expecting Patrick Surtain here. And now I'm very happy that they picked him up. So he's my pick this year, and man, he could be a key if that defense is as good as a lot of people think they can be.
I love Patrick Surtain, especially on that defense. I think
Michael Parsons.
Athlete.
That's athlete spelled APH elite. That's the athlete right there, man.
It's gonna be a problem.
He's going to be a problem, both of them, possibly here. And speaking of problems, let's take a look at Offensive Player of the Year. Both of the gentlemen that we have selected are just ridiculous when it comes to how damn talented they are, and also the talent that they are surrounded by. And Alex, I'm just going to go ahead and say that, we're going to talk a little bit more about this player once we get to the buy it or sell it segment here today. But let's talk about the reigning rushing leader, the man that broke 2,000 yards last season in a man
called by Ross Allen.
Hey, no, actually, partially called by Ross Allen. I want to give most of the credit, Alex, to our fantastic leading Patreon supporter, Ray Rodriguez. Shout to that man. Okay, I gotta show respect for. I give credit where credit is due here. Also, he's also making one of his statements that he's given me over this offseason is one of our statements in buy it or sell it. So he's making an impact here today. So got to shout out our patrons right there. Of course, you can go become one for just starting $1 a month over at the fourth or at patreon.com/4th&long. But Alex, Derrick Henry, he's going to win Offensive Player of the Year again this season because he's even more dangerous this year. He has all this momentum going with him. He's going to have Taylor Lewan back, and he's for hopefully the full season this year, which is going to help him even more. And what's nice is that Julio Jones, they bring him in, and it looks like this might open up their doesn't really have anything to do with Derrick Henry on the surface, but if you bring up more of an offensive threat there, you have to cover both A.J. Brown and Julio Jones this time. You have to drop a little bit more amount of people back in coverage. And what is dropping people back in coverage do? Kind of opens up the middle of the field right there. So the offensive line, they're able to take care of the primary level at the defensive line, be able to work their way up to the linebackers there. And just for Derrick Henry, you just need, obviously you need a bigger hole than some running backs because that man is a monster. But you need to, that's the one downside to blocking for Derrick Henry, I guess. But you get that hole, you give him 1 to 2 yards of space, and once that locomotive gets going, it's hard to bring him down. So I got Derrick Henry, and his biggest competition is probably going to be maybe Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, if we want to take a look at the running backs. But Derrick Henry is a lot better at staying. The best ability is availability, and Derrick Henry is able to stay on the field way better than Dalvin Cook and Alvin Kamara is.
There's a reason that Derrick Henry's nickname is Tractorcito, which, if you're not a Spanish major, that translates to the little tractor. So if you have a physical tractor running the football for your football team, you can't stop him. And if you're taking if you're taking players out of the box as compared to last year, and he ran for over $2,000 last year, and you added another game, which Derrick Henry's a machine, he doesn't get hurt. Knock on wood there.
But let's all knock.
He's gonna. The 2,000 is almost a floor for him next year for rushing yards. It's nuts to think about. But for the guy that I'm thinking about is, again, I love high-powered offenses. I love guys with incredible target share, and Stephon Diggs is everything that I love about a receiver in 2021. He is a great route runner, incredible hands, has an incredible quarterback, and is a deep threat. And all that combined, the dude had 166 targets last year. That's over 10 a game. That's almost unheard of from a receiving standpoint.
Ridiculous amount of targets, man. I think Josh Allen likes him as a receiver.
He loves him. And what's going to happen is Josh Allen, I think, is going to run the ball less this year. I think that's inevitable every single year with these, big, bruising quarterbacks. You see it happen with Cam. You saw it happen with Patrick Mahomes is not running the ball nearly as much anymore. Josh Allen is just not going to be running the ball as much anymore. He gets paid too much money. I mean, he signed one of the richest contracts in the offseason. So that target share is not going to go anywhere. The targets are going to stay up. He only caught 8 touchdowns last year. I think that number is low. And he caught over 1,500 yards last year. So everything is in the works here for Stephon Diggs to put up another 130 catches, 1,600 yards, 12, 15 touchdowns. I mean, you put up that kind of numbers and you're on an offense and on a team that's going to win 12, 13 games, I think Stephon Diggs has just as good a shot as any other receiver in the NFL right now.
Mm-hmm. Really like Stephon Diggs is, talk about a trade that worked out great for either team.
Both teams, 100%, yeah.
Vikings. One of the better ones in recent memory, without a doubt. I don't know what else to say, man. Stephon Diggs is just a really damn good wide receiver. And if you got him in fantasy this year, good for you.
Yeah.
Because he's going to be bringing home some points there. Going from offense to defense, let's talk some guys here. And Alex, maybe a guy that should have won last season.
Maybe.
A guy that might not even play week 1, given if the Steelers somehow mess this up when they've had all offseason to sign him. Sorry, I might have spoiled your pick there, but Alex, take it away.
You know what, TJ Watt, this is all assuming that he does get signed and play week 1. So I'm going to caveat that, of course. Okay. But here's the thing. Here's a couple things that TJ's got working in his favor this year. I think last year he should have won. So you're going to get a potential sympathy vote for players that, if guys didn't vote for him last year, they're like, we owe TJ this one. Mm-hmm. Every single year, he's increased his sack number. He had 13 in 2018. 2019, he had 14. 2020, he had 15. He consistently is in the top 3 for tackles for loss every single year. Mm-hmm. He is one of the most disruptive forces on the defense across the NFL. And no more Bud Dupree. So, yes, some people say, okay, all the attention is going to go on to TJ Watt. But the Steelers had a 37% blitz percentage last year, the highest in the NFL by a wide margin. So you're not going to be able to just double team TJ Watt because they're going to be bringing 5-6 guys consistently. Mm-hmm. And one-on-one coverage for TJ Watt is a problem for the offense. He plays in a very, very defensive-minded team. And, again, he's going to have opportunities. He does not come off the field. Mm-hmm. And so when you combine all those forces and he puts up 16, 17 sacks and he has, a disruptive forced fumble season and he's got a bunch of tackles for loss and the Steelers have a top 5 defense, I think TJ Watt is in just as good a position as any other year to actually take home the trophy this year.
Mm-hmm. TJ Watt is just a fantastic talent. I agree. He should have won it last year. I would love to pick him. I am just worried about that contract situation with the Steelers because we saw there's precedent with the Steelers with Le'Veon Bell. A lot of times things don't work out well with the Steelers, and TJ Watt is a guy that's good enough to be demanding the kind of money that he's demanding here. So,
but here's the biggest thing though is what you're forgetting is now if TJ Watt doesn't get signed week 1, I have an out. He didn't get signed. He would have been the defensive player of the year if he got signed.
But you got that damn asterisk going on there. Yeah.
I already won.
He's a tricky one, ladies and gentlemen. For me, no asterisk were required because it looked like we were going some contract issues with this guy. But him and the Dolphins were able to get things handled. And I'm going with my defensive player of the year this season is going to be the league leader in interceptions and passes deflected in 2020. Let's go with the Dolphins' Xavier Howard here because he is a madman, okay? He's really damn good at playing the football. He's really damn good at getting his hands on the football. I mean, I just remember the valiant effort that the Dolphins, like a kind of undermanned Dolphins team last year against the Chiefs. They're playing in Miami, and they made Patrick Mahomes look bad for at least a half of football, which who really does that besides, I guess, the Bucs defense in the Super Bowl? But besides that, that's a really hard thing to do. Xavier Howard is great there. He's one of the, I guess, one of the biggest ball hawks. I mean, oh man, imagine if the Dolphins still had Fitzpatrick. Imagine if they still have Fitzpatrick. That would be
If you had Minka, Byron Jones, and Xavier Howard,
Chico.
Woo.
Oh, that's like creating your own team on Madden levels.
serious. I mean, that's 99s all over the board.
Oh, that's ridiculous, there, man. I mean, speaking of Madden, Minka Fitzpatrick, put some respect on the man because him and TJ Watt are probably the only bright spots on the Steelers for this season. So you can just throw them a freaking bone there. But Xavier Howard, love him. And, I mean, if you got a ball-hawking defensive back that's able to get interceptions really help when it comes to, the things that help with Defensive Player of the Year, sacks and interceptions. So that's ultimately our argument here, Alex, between our two players. So super excited to see how he does this season. Now, comeback Player of the Year. One guy that I was able to, it was an easy lock. If he just made to the field and threw maybe like for 2 touchdowns on the season, he was going to win it. But Alex Smith, my pick last year, and he won that unsurprisingly there. And I think, honestly, you probably have another shoe-in of a pick for comeback Player of the Year again this season. And for me, that's Christian McCaffrey because he's an MVP candidate when healthy. So if he doesn't win MVP this year, comeback Player of the Year is almost, you can almost write his name on the trophy at this point. And I guess he might have some competition with Saquon Barkley and even Von Miller because when healthy, he was one of the best pass rushers that the NFL has ever seen there. But the problem is Von Miller is automatically at a disadvantage by playing defense. That's just a known fact. And Saquon Barkley's at a disadvantage because he runs behind an offensive line made of paper mache.
Yes.
That's not good. That's not
He
good.
also has a quarterback that loves to turn the football over and is horrible in the red zone.
Or just trip.
Yeah, Daniel Jones is just not the guy. I think we all know that, but no one wants to admit it yet.
No.
But yeah,
put too much into him, I guess, to be called wrong already.
100%. But again, this is an easy pick for us. I'm going to go with CMC as well. He's got the best combination of running upside and passing up and receiving upside for any running back in maybe the last 20 years, ever since Marshall Faulk. So he's going to have every opportunity he can to put up stats. Mm-hmm. That team is going to be atrocious this year again, I think. So they're going to be behind in a lot of games. Sam Darnold's going to be dumping the ball off to him like crazy. They brought in a nobody. Oh yeah, that's right. They brought nobody in to compete with him in the backfield. Chuba Hubbard is not going to be getting the job done. They didn't add any receivers. They still have Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore. They brought in Terrace Marshall. So they brought in 2 rookies that are going to be the only really big changes from the last offseason, other than Sam Darnold, honestly. But CMC just has every single opportunity to put up monster stats this year, and that's what gets the voters' attention more than anything, is putting up monster stats.
Yeah.
So CMC is almost a shoo-in for this week.
Lock it. CMC, comeback player of the year. And we got a couple good ones for our coach of the year, and then, of course, we're going to cap things off with the MVP of the NFL. But coach of the year, I haven't talked about this guy. I talked about him a lot when this hire went down. The best coaching candidate that we had this offseason and the best hiring move. And one of the best moves, honestly, that the Jets have made in a little bit was bringing in former 49ers defensive coordinator Rob Saleh. And like I say, he's just a fantastic coach, fantastic leader, just a fantastic presence for a crap organization to bring in. He's the most legitimate coach that team has seen since Rex Ryan. Yeah.
High bar. Really high bar.
Oh.
Dude, I
It's so
love
bad, but-
Roberts. Robert Saleh was a perfect hire for that Jets organization because they've been the laughingstock of the league for the last 5 years, 5+ years. You go from Todd Bowles to Adam Gase, and it's comical how bad they played the last couple of years under Adam Gase. And so you bring in a guy like Rob Saleh, who is so intense, commands so much respect from his team, that his combination with Shanahan on the offensive with LaFleur on the offensive side, I think just coming from that Kyle Shanahan system at San Francisco, Rob Saleh came out of nowhere. And he's going to run a successful defense there. That's what he's born and bred to do. And he's got the energy. He's got the respect of that team already. And I really love that addition. But I'm going to go with another guy that's going to be a first-year coach. And I've talked about this team already. I love what the Chargers are building in Los Angeles. Not their fan base. I'm not talking about their fan base, because that needs to be built and probably will need to be built for the next 50 years to get anywhere near a respectable level.
Spanos murdered that fan base, and
gosh,
and he continues to murder them every single year.
Yeah, he is not doing any favors at all. But I don't know. I think Brandon Staley, first off, he's in a really, really, really bad division. Minus the Chiefs. Broncos and the Raiders can be had. I think they can pretty easily go into that second slot. And of course, sorry to hear about your Broncos there, or talk shit about them.
I fully understand.
You got Teddy Bridgewater as your starting quarterback. Your starting quarterback wears a glove on his throwing hand. He's not Kurt Warner, so
he's better than Kurt Warner. You're right.
And so Brandon Staley, the Chargers
I did
lost.
not mean disrespect Kurt Warner like that. I take it back. Not even as a joke.
You can't be doing that. Kurt Warner's
You're
near Hall of Fame.
Do I need like a jar, a bad take jar, even with the joke?
I think you just need a disrespect jar when you disrespect folks. But yeah, I mean, Brandon Staley, him alone over Anthony Lynn from last year, they probably would have had 3 more wins. So they got absolutely burned in those close victories because Anthony Lynn did not know what he was doing. Brandon Staley is a sharp guy. You look at his track record. He's won everywhere he's gone, and he's one of the brightest young minds that we have in the NFL. And, like I said, track record of those guys when they get their head coaching position is very, very good. And I think Brandon Staley is going to be no different this year. He's got the quarterback. He's got the elite talent on the offensive and defensive side. And he plays – in his schedule this year is very manageable. And so, they don't have to play that first-place schedule. They don't have to play a crazy, difficult in-conference or in-division schedule besides the Chiefs. But you can lose 2 games to the Chiefs, and you're still in a position to win 10 games this year. So I like what Brandon Staley's building there. I think this is going to be a bigger leap than people are expecting in year one. But, you combine Justin Herbert and Brandon Staley, and I think you have good things to come.
I do want to say one more name I can throw in here is I've trashed him, and I'll continue to trash him until he proves me otherwise. But while he has a very, very low downside, if Urban Meyer is able to somehow pull together this team and kind of surprise the NFL and somehow lead a Jags team, if he is able to get like 9 wins, 10 wins, very high expectations there. But Urban Meyer, he does have a chance to be Coach of the Year, given just how bad the Jags have been.
I think it's interesting, too, that we kind of gravitate towards those first-year coaches. But, I mean, even a guy like old Bill Belichick's got a chance at Coach of the Year this year just because of how bad they were last year on just from a visual standpoint. It was painful to watch that offense at the end of the year.
Good point.
And, I mean, I think just the turnaround alone with how many guys they got back on the defensive end and what he did in the offseason with his wallet is going to put them in a position to have a ton of positive regression in the win column. And also,
I mean, yeah,
the voters might owe him,
know exactly what you mean there, Alex. But let's cap things off with our award predictions. It's the MVP, and for me, It could be Patrick Mahomes, but I'm going to go with the quarterback that just got paid this offseason. Obviously, he's not making as much as Patrick Mahomes. No one is. Also, I just want to say that the salary cap is a myth. It doesn't exist. It's made by Big Goodell to kind of make it look like they have some stuff going. But no, it's not real because you can put $100 million into signing Bose and the contract is worth nothing. I don't understand it, and that's why I'm not a sports agent. But Josh Allen, for me, he's going to be MVP this season, kind of because you talked about Stephon Diggs. We talked about just how good of a pickup Emmanuel Sanders is going to be to really open up that offense. A better rushing game here. And Josh Allen, he has the chance and the ability to throw for over 5,000 yards and over 45 touchdowns this season. He could put up crazy numbers. And while Patrick Mahomes, he's probably going to be able to match him with the numbers. One thing I'm worried about is even though we're still pretty early into the Patrick Mahomes' career, he might already be running into what I call the LeBron effect. A guy that you could argue that he should be MVP pretty much every season that he plays. But given how good he is, his expectations, like his kind of standards, are higher than the rest of the league. He has to play to a different set of standards than the rest of the league does. So, success. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, like LeBron James, could be suffering from success here. Patrick Mahomes is probably going to be right in that MVP conversation. He has to be. But ultimately, I think it's going to go to Josh Allen.
And again, I have nothing bad I'm ever going to say about Josh Allen. I think he's just such a gorgeous quarterback to watch play football. Mm-hmm. I would be happy if he won MVP, but I'm going to go with the guy. I'm going to go with Pat. They should just change this award to the MVP Pat. Every single year this guy could win. And here's something that people forget is the last 2 years he hasn't got a full season in. Last year he played 15 games. The year before he played 14 games. You're adding another game onto the schedule. We talked about their improved offensive line, so hopefully that he can get all 17 games in. In 15 games like here, he threw for 47
Well, at least 16 because they might just sit him in week 17. Who knows?
Maybe, but okay, if they're sitting week 17 or week 18, mm-hmm. he is going to be in a position, if they're the number one seed, that he's probably going to win the MVP.
Yes.
So if he gets all 16 games in, I think he's a lock for 5,000 yards. He always keeps his interceptions very, very low. We only had 6 last year and 38 touchdowns. That touchdown number is going to go way up. He's still got Kelsey. He's still got Tyreek there. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to have another year to actually integrate into that offense. He didn't nearly catch the ball enough as he should have last year, so they're going to get him an uptick in that. I don't think Sammy Watkins' loss is a big thing because you have guys like Nicole and Byron Pringle get ready to step right up into that gap. Their defense is going to be good, but I think it's going to let in a lot of points. Their defensive line, their front seven is great, but their secondary is atrocious. And when you have shootouts and you have a guy like Patrick Mahomes that is never out of any game, they're going to win a ton of games. They're going to put up a ton of points, and they're going to throw. So Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, I think, are the clear 1-2 favorites for MVP, and it's a toss-up. But mm-hmm. I'm going to go with the guy with the most talent I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. I agree there. I mean, it's always hard to argue against Patrick Mahomes. So I can't fault anyone, including you, Alex, that just goes ahead and picks him for MVP. But Alex, in the span of almost like pretty much it's been over half a year since we've had this. But you want to know what we're going to do here?
My ears are perked.
Oh,
my ears are perked.
Let's roll it. Oh, it feels so good to bring this masterpiece of a segment back, Alex. And we get to start things off with a very, very fun one. A little fun statement here. But, of course, those that don't know how this segment works, we give you 5 statements here. And it's up to you whether you're going to buy it or you're going to sell it. But, Alex, the first thing I'm going to tell you is that, I mean, of course, this is brought to one that kind of brought to mind here by best top patron Ray Rodriguez, patreon.com/4thandlong. And that is that Derrick Henry will be the first player in NFL history not only to rush for 2 2,000-yard seasons, but be the first one to also run for them in back-to-back years.
I mean, we've talked about this. I buy this all day long. All day long. The guy does not miss games. They feed him the rock. He doesn't have a backup running back. They added weapons on the outside. They're gonna face less heavy packed boxes this season. He plays in a horrible division. He's going to be blowout. When you play the Texans and the Jags twice a year, those games are going to be wrapped up by the middle of the third quarter, and all they do is give the ball to Derrick Henry. He's going to break at least a couple 80-yard runs in those games alone. And he's going to get 2,000. I think that's his floor. If he plays 17 games, that's his floor.
That's so crazy to say, but he's probably the guy that's going to contribute the most from his 17-game season. Hands down, but
he's going to get the most carries in the NFL by far.
Yes, and you say they feed him with rock. I think they might legitimately be feeding him rocks given how damn big and chiseled this guy is. I mean, talk about a man crush. Derrick Henry. Ooh. That's a man right there. But no, Derrick Henry, I buy this statement too, Alex. I really like his chances for 2,000. Honestly, 2,200, not out of the question. 2,300 if we want to push it. Now we're pushing it, but
I think he's got a chance.
I think he has a chance at 2,300 yards.
I mean, he really does. It's crazy. He does, though.
Oh, I need to live in a world where I see Derrick Henry rush for 2,300 yards in a single season. That's just ridiculous how we can even talk about that now. I guess that's a positive to the 17-game season. In the next statement, Alex, we talked about the Saints. You talked about Jameis Winston. You talked about your guy for maybe a breakout player here. But one thing I'm just going to say, all right, by this statement, this is something I fully believe in. This is something that I've made the claim on a couple of the shows that I've been able to guest host on. But I want to see, obviously, need to get yours here, Alex. But this statement, my statement personally, is that the Saints have a higher ceiling and maybe even a way higher ceiling with Jameis Winston than they ever did with Drew Brees.
I buy this statement all day long, and I think it's very simple. I think they have a much lower floor with Jameis Winston. Drew Brees won 10 games in his sleep, but their ceiling is significantly higher because he actually is a dynamic passer. And look, he's not a great athlete, but he can actually he can move a little bit. He can move significantly better than Drew Brees does. So you're just adding different elements to that offense. You're not losing the Taysom Hill aspect. It sucks not having Michael Thomas. I get that.
Yeah.
But you still have Sean Payton there. Sean Payton works magic with quarterbacks. And with a guy who has first overall pick talent like Jameis in an offense like that, I think their ceiling is significantly higher. And yes, that comes with a much lower floor. But when you're talking ceilings, Jameis is living in a 2-story house and Drew Brees is still in the basement.
And, I mean, no disrespect to Drew Brees. Like you say, he is a guaranteed, 10-win season. And that's, I mean, if any team would be happy to have a guaranteed 10 wins. But Jameis Winston, I mean, we saw in the preseason, we saw 1/4 of the preseason. This guy can throw some bombs, and he's going to be lethal for the Saints. I'm just glad that the Saints went ahead. I kind of got worried that they were going to start Taysom Hill for whatever reason. I was really worried about that, but they went ahead. They made the right choice to start Jameis Winston. This is a conversation that we were having, Alex, back in January of what they need to do at quarterback, and thank God that they ended up going and started Jameis Winston. The Saints are going to be a better team for it. Sticking on the topic of quarterbacks here, especially for the next couple statements here, Alex. I mean, you can probably speak this on a little bit more of a personal standpoint here, being the resident 49ers fan. So probably paying close attention to the whole Trey Lance and Jimmy G situation here, Alex. But this statement is that Trey Lance will start more games than Jimmy Garoppolo this season.
You know what? Surprisingly, I'm going to sell this statement. I think it's very simple. Is that to start the year, Jimmy G gives the Niners the best chance to win football games, and I think Kyle Shanahan Jimmy G's problem is not his performance. Every single time he's been on the field, Kyle Shanahan's won football games. And so his problem is health. So if Jimmy G is healthy, he's going to start until Trey Lance proves that he's got the capability to handle every single part of the offense. Kyle's not going to put him out there if he doesn't trust him fully with the offense. And so Trey Lance, I think, is going to, be able to play 12 to 15 games this year. Whether that's as the starting quarterback, I'm not specifically sure. But I really think that Jimmy G, I think best case scenario for the Niners this year, Jimmy G starts all 17 games. They go 12-5. Jimmy G packs his bags at the end of the year, and Trey Lance comes in Patrick Mahomes style. But it strikes me very similar to that Chiefs year when no one was expecting anything big out of Alex Smith. You had the big young gun coming in behind him, and you always thought that Patrick was going to get that opportunity sometime later in the year. But Alex Smith just kept winning daggone games, and I think Jimmy G can do the same thing because the offense is elite around him. He's got a great offensive line. He's got 2 great running backs. He's got receivers out the wazoo, not out the wazoo, but I really like.
He has some good ones. I mean, watch out for Debo.
I like Debo and Ayuk a
Samuel,
lot.
Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah, and you have George Kittle, which is one of the most impactful players on any offense.
The best tight end in the league.
Yeah, so I think Jimmy G is going to start more games than Trey Lance this year. I wouldn't be pissed if Trey Lance started more, but I think everything's there for Jimmy G to have a successful year.
Yeah, and kind of like what we were talking about earlier, Alex, is that, I mean, Trey Lance, no, he's not ready to be a starter in the NFL. And no, that's not a bad thing. We can't always expect these quarterbacks, especially a guy that played 1 game last season. And I mean, that was about it. It's going to take some time for him to adjust, and that's not a bad thing. There's no need to rush this. The Niners have a full season here with Jimmy G, and they could win. They could still win football games with Jimmy G. Trey Lance is a ceiling raiser. Jimmy G is a floor raiser, and for the Niners and what they're set there, ultimately is not a bad thing. And sticking with the rookie quarterbacks, Alex, let's talk Justin Fields. And we kind of talked about him. Obviously, I'm very hot on him from what we see in the preseason. Like him for offensive rookie of the year. And so, Alex, Justin Fields will be the starting quarterback for the Chicago Bears by week 3. And by or after week 3. So looking at that one. So their first 3 games are the Rams, then the Bengals, and then the Browns. Then week 4, they have the Detroit Lions.
I love where your head's at here, and I even think he's got a shot to come in week 1 because I think that Rams defense is going to eat Andy Dalton alive.
Just halftime. Just
yeah,
send him out.
It's gonna be gross. But yeah, I think especially Andy Dalton's not going to look good against the Rams. He might look good against the Bengals, but he's going to look atrocious again against the Browns. And I think you're going to be left with no options. And when you have a fan base that has been coming after their coach and their GM's head for the last 4 years, if they get enough momentum, and they could almost force Justin Fields to play by week 3. So I love that statement.
Maybe not. Maybe he doesn't start the first in one of the first 3 games. I would love if they just brought him out for the Bengals and started him then. But something that could be a little more of a softer landing could be the Detroit Lions, and after that, the Las Vegas Raiders. So I'm gonna buy the same, Alex. I think Justin Fields, he should be starting by the time they play the Lions, if not earlier. But also, I really put a lot of emphasis on the word should, because Matt Nagy. That's all I gotta say there.
Old, bald Matt Nagy.
All you gotta say, for any reason why the Bears might be a bad team, well, the first thing you just go, Matt Nagy.
Yeah.
Perfect scapegoat, but it's really, really accurate there. But the last statement that we have for our segment today, Alex, is that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to start the season 0-3. Their first 3 games this year are against the Cleveland Browns, then the Baltimore Ravens, and then the Los Angeles Chargers. Then, of course, week 4 against the Eagles. We already see how that one's going. But first 3...
I love where your head's at, Ross. I really do. You're really throwing, stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. Dude, come on. I mean, the Chiefs can't. I wouldn't be shocked if throughout his entire career, Patrick Mahomes never loses 3 games. I would not be shocked if that's a thing. So no, he's not going to lose 3 games in a row. If he loses to the Browns, he'll win his next 2 games. If he beats the Browns, he might lose to the Ravens. But worst case scenario is they're 2-1.
Worst case is 2-1.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd say worst case is 1-2. But also, it might be splitting a little more hairs there. But, like
So you're still selling the statement, though. Come on.
Yeah, you're right. I am selling this statement. If you look at it individually, Browns and Chiefs. Yeah, I could see the Chiefs losing that game. Ravens and Chiefs. Yeah, I could see the Ravens winning that game. Chargers Chiefs. Yes, I could see the Chargers beating the Chiefs. They've done it before. They did it last year. But if
they have three losable games. You're right. They have three losable games.
But if you could, there's like you said, it's so like if you put these individually, saying that each statement that the Chiefs will lose this game, yeah, cool. But all three together, that makes it a lot harder to buy because I'm just thinking that the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes are going to lose 3 games in a row. No, imagine if the Chiefs go 3-0 and then they lose to the Eagles in Week 4. That's how you know the apocalypse will be happening. Oh my! I don't want to.
That's not gonna happen.
But honestly, the first 5 games from the Chiefs are tough: Browns, Ravens, Chargers, Eagles, and then Bills. Even the Washington football team after that. So I like to see the Chiefs are going to be pushed this year, and that's why if they can finish with the high seed this season, they're going to be.
That'll be impressive. That'll be very, very impressive.
They're going to be a damn good team. But no, I'm like you. I will sell this statement, but there's a good possibility for this. I just want to put out there. There's a good possibility. Well, maybe not a good possibility. There is
a possibility.
Yes, I'll even say there's a half decent possibility that the Chiefs start the season 0-3. It's going to be interesting the first stretch for that. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for our buy or sell segment. We're just about wrapping up here. Of course, I guess the real coup de grace to the show, Alex, is going to be who's going to win the Super Bowl this season. That's the big question that we could all really put our heads together here, Alex. So let's go ahead and first things first. I'm actually going to have you give me your 3 wildcard teams from the AFC.
The AFC. Why don't you go first on these ones?
I got you.
I'm between 2 teams right now, and I want to see if you can sway me.
I can do that for you. Let's see. So I'm gonna turn away from the camera because I got this pulled up on my different monitor here. Look how fancy we are here at 4th and Long. We got multi-monitor setups. Oh yeah, you bet. But out of my 7th seed is going to be the Indianapolis Colts, and then my 6th seed is going to be the Cleveland Browns, and my 5th seed is the Los Angeles Chargers.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with New England's gonna be my 5 seed.
Okay.
Baltimore's going to be my 6th seed, and I like the Chargers as my number 7 seed.
Chargers is 7. All right, then over there on the East or on the national side of things, let's go with the NFC. I have at 7 the Arizona Cardinals. I have at number 6 the San Francisco 49ers, and at number 5 I'm gonna go with the New Orleans Saints.
I'd really like those picks. I'm going to tweak it just a little bit. I'm going to go with the quarterback that has a longer track record of success. I'm going to go with Seattle 7. I'm going to go with New Orleans as the 6th seed. And I'm going to go 49ers as the 5 seed.
All right. And then let's go back to the AFC and our division winners. For me, in the AFC North, I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens, and that's just going to be a slobber knocker of a battle between them and the Browns for that first seed. Also, just going with the division, don't be surprised if the Bengals finish above the Steelers. With the AFC South, given the injuries that we've seen from the Colts this offseason, and then from the bolstered Titans team, I got the Titans taking the AFC South here. The AFC East, there's really no question for me. It's the Buffalo Bills, and it's not close. And then with the AFC West, same thing. It's the Kansas City Chiefs, and it's not close.
Yep, and I'm pretty much the same there. I'm going to go Tennessee as my 4 seed. My 3 seed's going to be the Cleveland Browns. I think they're going to edge out Baltimore this year. I think Buffalo is the clear number 2 team in the AFC, and the Chargers actually, excuse me, I'm going to go Buffalo number 1 seed and Chiefs number 2 seed. But yeah. That's what I like this year.
Buffalo might not be the better team, but they do have the easier schedule this season. Especially, correct. Those 2 divisions kind of got compared to the AFC. The AFC East is probably better than the AFC West for sure there. But seeding wise, 4-1, I'll take the Ravens, Titans, Bills, and then the Chiefs finishing as the 1 seed here. Over there on the National Football Conference, for my division winners, I am going with the NFC North is going to be the Green Bay Packers. The NFC South is going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The NFC East is going to be the Washington Football Team, and they will repeat as division champs for the first time in almost like something around 20 years in that division. It's been very competitive. I might not be good, but it's competitive. Two different things. You really make that distinction in your mind there. And
Very
then,
big difference.
Right. And then in the NFC West, the best division in football, I'm going with the Los Angeles Rams. So seeding wise, 4-1, we are going with let's go with the Packers, then the let's go Packers, football team, Bucks, and Rams.
You have the football team as your number 3 seed?
I got the football team as my number 3
Are you kidding me, Ross?
Look at the division.
That's egregious.
Washington has an easier division than the Green Bay does.
They don't have a team name. How are they going to be the 3 seed?
They don't need a team name to win football games because they have your favorite player in the league, Chase Young, with his 3 different pass rushing moves.
Yeah, if you tell me he added a second tool to his tool belt, yeah, I'd believe you here. But until I see him put on
I really hope you
pounds.
guys were here last year for Alex's multiple rants about Chase Young. But don't worry if you miss those, because you can go find those, and I'm sure we'll have plenty of them this season as well.
He's a good player, I know that, but stop anointing him the king. He's got a spin move and a speed rush. That's all he's got. Oh gosh. Okay.
Oh, I got you so worked up here. This is great.
From 4-1 here, I'm gonna go the not the team that Chase Young's on. I'm gonna go with the Dallas Cowgirls. And last year they screwed me with Dak Prescott breaking every part of his ankle.
No. If you're listening to Romo, it was just a sprain. Just
it was just a sprain, right? No, it's just he just had to pop it back into place, right?
Oh, I don't think you can pop it back into place.
I think that one might need a little more expert hands to put that thing back into a walkable position.
That was so bad.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Dallas is my 4 seed. My 3 seed is going to be the LA Rams. My 2 seed is going to be the Green Bay Packers, and the 1 seed is going to be Tampa Bay. And the biggest difference this year is you have no faith in Aaron Rodgers, and I just don't see how he's not a top 3 seed this year.
It's one of those things where I guess we'll see if it pays off for me or not. It's one of those things where I can't really put exact explanation, full analysis of why I feel this way about the Green Bay Packers. Sometimes you gotta trust the gut feeling. I don't know if the gut feeling's right. Like you said, Alex, I was kind of doubting it before this. I'm really doubting it now, but gotta stick to your guns at least a little bit here.
I like a man with confidence.
I mean, ultimately, I'm admitting that. No, I don't know exactly why I feel this way about the Green Bay Packers, but I do. So I gotta trust the gut a little bit here. So we'll see how that goes. But we're gonna skip on over to the championship games, respectively. And then in the AFC, and also, I'm just going to ask in both conferences, I just got the 1 and 2 seeds here. It might sound basic, it might sound bland, but these are ultimately going to be the 2 best teams, and going through the playoffs, this is how I had this ended up. In the AFC, I have the Chiefs and the Bills. And then in the NFC, I have the Rams and the Bucks. And I'll take the Rams over the Bucks. And I'll take the Bills over the Chiefs.
So I love those picks, and everything is going to be the same about those, except a different NFC West team in the championship game.
You want to say the Niners?
Call me a homer.
You filthy
but the Niners
homer, but I respect it.
Kyle Shanahan has Sean McVay's number. If they play each other in the playoffs, Kyle Shanahan has the advantage. So I'm going to go Niners, Bucks. Bucks are going to beat him, but that's besides the point. And then I'm going to go Bills, Chiefs again, and I'm going to pick the Bills.
I love what we got here, man. I love what we got here. But Super Bowl time, Alex. Let's go. For me, of course, we have the Bills. We have the Los Angeles Rams. We have a good defense and a great offense against a good offense and a great defense. And, they tell you defense wins championships. But I think Bills Mafia, you have something to celebrate this season. I know I picked the Bills last year, but damn it, I'll be right again. I'll be right this year. The Bills are finally going
Gotta
to
bring
win
it home.
a Lombardi Trophy, man. They're going to do it. They're going to do it this year. I'm putting my money on that. I'll put my money where my mouth is. Bills 2021-22 Super Bowl champions of the world.
I would honestly be so happy if they won the championship, but I'm
Right.
gonna do something that hasn't been done in a long time, and that is a repeat Super Bowl winner.
Okay.
The Bucks have everything you need to win a
They're
Super Bowl.
literally returning a Super Bowl team.
Everything. And Tom Brady he's like a fine wine. He gets better with age, especially in this offense with Bruce Arians.
And it
They're
pisses
going to
me
be a
off.
machine.
Pisses me off, man. Tom Brady. Can you
Jeez.
stop getting good? Damn. Let some other quarterbacks and teams have a chance, damn it.
Seriously, man.
Dude, like, you have to respect Tom, but at the same time, he's kind of annoying me. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I would be
honest.
if I was a Drew Brees or if I was a Ben Roethlisberger or Phillip Rivers or
Even a Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning. I would be like, screw this guy. What is he made out of? Is he the Terminator? I mean, he must be made out of a different sort of makeup than every other human being.
Look at him with the "I'll be back" because that's what he says after every season. He's just back to the Super Bowl.
It's like clockwork every single year.
But I love it. The Bills for me, the Bucks for AK. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll love to see your Super Bowl winners there. Ultimately, that's the biggest prediction that you can make here. That's the most important one because it doesn't matter about the awards. It doesn't matter who wins this, who wins that, what the seeding is, or any kind of hot takes that we got here, Alex. It doesn't matter about how you perform. It just matters if you win the Super Bowl. You can go 7 and I guess now if you're somehow to make it into the playoffs at 8-9, 7-10. None of that matters as long as you win the Super Bowl. No one looks at regular season records. They look at Lombardi trophies ultimately. But Alex, we've gone far. We've looked over who's going to be performing the best. We've looked over who the top team is going into the 2021 NFL season. We gave you our answers for who's going to win each award and why. We've given you the hot takes of the year. We've given you who is going to make the playoffs and who is going to win the Super Bowl. So, Alex, we're just about done here, man. NFL predicting the 2021 NFL season, previewing anything you know about the 2021 NFL season. We've kind of come to a head here, Alex. How are you feeling after this whole man? It's like exhausting. I feel tired.
Here's the thing: is like people don't respect enough how much it takes to be a fan of the NFL. I mean, we're the real warriors out here. We do this for 18 straight weeks.
Yeah.
We don't take a Sunday off. We don't take a Thursday off. We don't take a Monday off. Sometimes even Saturdays we don't take
Sometimes
off.
even Tuesdays or Wednesdays if you want to talk about last year.
I mean, seriously.
Oh, that was a shit show.
It's extremely fun to be an NFL football fan, but man, we're warriors out there, and we need to be recognized for that. And so
we're honestly tougher than some of the players.
I cannot be more excited about this year.
Sorry.
Cannot be more excited.
Oh, it's going to be such a damn good season of football. And Alex, I think what we got to do here, I'll be willing to make a wager with you. We haven't even talked about this, but let's see on camera. I might put each other on the spot here and make a wager. So what I did is for the MLB season, I made the bet with Jalen. So there is I forget what it's called. It's called like the One Chip Challenge. Have you heard of it?
I've heard this, yes.
So it's one chip, spiciest chip in the world. Just comes in one package. You gotta eat it, and it sucks. So I'm probably already going to eat this chip at least once this year, to be honest, because I bet Jalen that for baseball that the San Francisco Giants won't win the division, and also that they won't win the win the World Series. So
Oof.
might eat one. I'm probably going to eat one chip here. I have to eat two, but I'll put this online, Alex. So if either one of our teams win the division, I'll put a chip on the division. They'll also I'll also put a chip on the Super Bowl. Are we willing to make that bet? And so if either one of our teams, so say the Broncos win the division, and then win the Super Bowl, that's 2 chips. If the Niners win the division, then win the Super Bowl, that'd be 2 chips to me.
I mean, this is a no-brainer for me.
Yeah.
The Broncos have no shot to win the division, and they're no shot to win the Super Bowl. So you're
if you're confident about that, would you like to 2 chips if the Broncos win the division, then 2 more chips if they win the Super Bowl?
How about this? I'll give you 2 chips on both of those and 1 chip for the Niners. I'm doing
Okay.
a horrible job of negotiating
Yes,
here.
you are, but it's all good. I think this is gonna be fun because my whole mindset, Alex, is yes, we'll shake over the internet.
You see it.
Yes, you see it. No, on both my hands, no crossies here.
No crossies.
We're honest gentlemen, and we make honest wagers.
Correct.
And at the worst, my whole mindset is I'm preparing myself. I'm gonna eat this chip because of this damn stupid, awful bet I made in baseball. And at the worst, it's gonna make a good video. But also, my 12 is going to get some damage.
Talk about that. We'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that when it comes. But ladies and gentlemen, the bet's there. So
It's made.
We put a little bit extra on the line this season. That's always a fun thing. That's going to be something we're going to have to check in this entire season. And I think it's just going to be a great time. And ultimately, I might be buying a lot of those chips. But let's cap things off, ladies and gentlemen. What other way do we cap every show off, whether it be our UFC stuff or all-around stuff or NFL stuff, than with the nay of the week? And I got it simple. You don't have to overthink this one. It's not a very creative one, but it's true, Alex. And the award, the entity that's going to be taking home the Nanny of the Week award this week is the NFL offseason. Because you are finished. You're gone. You're out of our lives. This offseason will never exist again. And we have so much time until, obviously it never feels like it, but calendar-wise, we have a good amount of time until we have to worry about the offseason again. And very soon, Alex, very, very soon, we're going to be hearing the golden pipes of Chris Hansen. Talking about, was it 10 hours of commercial?
Scott Hansen.
Oh, wow.
Chris Hansen's the guy that catches predators. Dude.
Oh, I missed that.
Dude.
Oh,
Chris
man.
Hansen's about to be knocking on your door if you keep that shit up.
Take a seat. Hey, but Scott Hansen, I'll take a seat for you right in my sofa, and I'll be...
I can't believe you did that.
I can't believe I did that either. Oh, that's fantastic.
That's awesome.
Oh,
I love to see that.
We have fun here, ladies. Oh, the best of mess ups that you can make. I know. Oh man, but we got Scott Hansen with our commercial-free football, and we're going to get that very, very soon. And on this note, ladies and gentlemen, don't be a predator. Moral of the story. But thank you so much for joining us in today. This was a fantastic stuff. A long show, but we were able to get through it because there's just so much stuff to talk about, Alex. But let's fully end things here because I need your thoughts on the 2021 NFL season in one word or phrase.
Juiced.
I love it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, Alex. Oh, AK, man. It was so great to have you back on. Now, I mean, just being honest here, we can't guarantee Alex's appearance over the next little bit of week because, I mean, we talk about Rookie of the Year awards and MVPs. Alex, I mean, just going in his personal and his professional career, he's chasing that. So, obviously, going to wish you the best of luck. Champ, you're going to bring home the MVP. And we're going, I don't know if they give you trophies for work or awards. But
They do.
Oh, we're going to need
They do.
We're going to need to see that in the video. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
I'll promise you to show you in the video as long as I close the deal.
Hey, that's why.
Close the deal.
If Alex isn't on the shows, that's just what's going on. So I know we'll miss him. I miss him.
I'll be
here.
sulking.
Yeah, I cry every single week that we're unable to get him on. But it doesn't matter. Let's focus on Alex is here, and he'll be back weekly very, very soon, ladies and gentlemen. But he has some business to take care of, babe. Just want to give you that heads up. But like I said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us here today. Make sure for everything related to 4th and Long, you can go on over to thefourthandlong.com for anything 4th and Long in NFL and football. Thefourthandlong.com/NFL. Like I said, go on over. Make sure to check us out on Patreon. Just $1 a month will get you started here today. That's patreon.com/4thandlong. And, I mean, the best place for sports prop betting. The NFL season is here. This is a really great way to get into sports betting. Really simple. They lay everything out for you. Also, if you put a deposit down of $20 and up to $50, they'll match you dollar per dollar if you use promo code 4th and long over on Thrive Fantasy. That's thrivefantasy.com. Promo code 4th and long. Alex, this has been a long-winded outro. It's probably going too long. They're probably playing the music right now, trying to kick me off the stage. But like I said, thank you so much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us, Alex. And I am Chris Hansen. And please, take a seat.
Stay safe out there, boys.